Yes, hello and welcome to another TechPlus, another week and more tech. It's time to talk about it. My name's still Eon and this is still Kaine. Hello, Kaine.
Nothing changed since last week, I see.
I don't know if you saw, there were like two guys, I think, recording a podcast in a coffee shop this week, I think in America. And they were just sitting there recording it, mics in front of them and even a camera. Next moment there's a car driving through the window.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it missed them by millimeters.
Oh my goodness.
What a podcast, eh?
I'm glad
that can't happen to us.
I'm glad we're on the third story.
We're on the third floor. Well, maybe one of those flying cars or flying bicycles. I see China, I think, released a new flying bicycle this week.
A flying bicycle?
Yeah, so that can also come through your window nowadays. You just never know.
I was going to say, the worst, I guess, is a DJI drone through the window. But now that you mentioned flying bicycles...
It can be a bicycle, it can be a flying car. It's been another interesting week for tech. And it's so interesting to see how solar is taking off in our country right now with the load shedding situation. Have you observed driving around, going for a Sunday drive? I always look at the roofs, and I'm used to the roofs by now. So if there's a new solar panel up there, I will know.
Yes.
And I'm noticing more and more and more of them. Have you noticed?
Yes, and it's actually something we're going to be talking about today. We're actually going to take a look at what are some of the top home solar companies in South Africa at the moment.
So more and more people getting solar. It's definitely happening right now.
And I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable because, I was thinking about it. Like, honestly, if you really think about it, if you're someone like me who's awake after 12, sometimes to 2, 3 a.m., and you actually feel out a day of load shedding, you can have 12 to 2, 6 to 8, 10 to 12, and then also in the evening as well. And then what's even worse for me is if you're on stage 5 load shedding, you could have load shedding 8 to 10 p.m., and then start again at 12 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm noticing that quite often. I think that's happening again tonight.
Yeah, it happens almost every time.
We're talking, yeah.
There's no correlation between the previous day and the current day. So if you're someone who's up after that new day threshold, you get.
It's almost like it doesn't matter.
No.
It just resets.
And when stuff like that's happening, and you're a person who's getting exposed to it, you kind of have to find a solution, especially if you want to be productive in that time. It's one thing watching a movie, but if you've had load shedding during the day and you're relying on catching up on that time, because that's what the normal person working an 8-hour job has to do. If you're not getting the time in and you're working for an international company, you have to find that time somewhere. And it becomes increasingly more difficult to find that time when even your evenings are so bombarded with load shedding schedules. You almost start wondering, maybe I should just sleep during every load shedding schedule.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, but it's hard.
It is.
But I saw a lady, she's a guest house owner, and she made a video this week on social media, and she's here in the Western Cape, and she was talking about how they're losing customers at the moment because people want to stay in their B&B, but they call, and then the first question they ask is, are you off grid? Can you, because we need to do work and we need to have Wi-Fi and whatever. And she said at that stage, she said no, unfortunately they're not off grid, so load shedding will affect the B&B. Those people cancelled their reservation. It's happened a few times already, losing thousands because of this. Now she is biting the bullet, and she got solar for her B&B.
You have no option. You're in a corner.
So she's like, oh no, there goes all my December profits. So I said to her, you know what? You say that now, but talk to me in a few months' time when you're not losing bookings and you're actually online and everything's working. You're going to thank the stars.
I think for a residential person, getting an inverter if you work remotely makes sense. If you're leisure at home, it doesn't really make as much sense because you're not making money back from it. But as an Airbnb, offering that facility in a time where not a lot of B&Bs or rental opportunities offer that facility, you're going to get more business.
It's so part of our lives now that the first question people actually ask you is, do you have power when there's no power?
Yeah.
That's the first thing they ask you nowadays. Not what's the weather like or how much is it per room. Do you have electricity? That's the question they ask you.
Because especially for tourism, like people are coming from countries where their power's on all the time.
Yeah.
So you're having 8 hours of no
As
power
it should
in a
be.
day.
Yeah.
So, well, with this in mind, and the demand for the acquisition of solar technologies and even just off-grid battery technologies that charge through the Eskom grid, you don't just have all these people getting solar facilities and they're just so happy, because people are also losing a lot of money. Because at the same time as there are legitimate companies offering legitimate solar installations, there are other companies that are using it as an avenue to make huge markup on their tech build that they're selling to you, and in exchange you get a lower end system for a higher end price, and you end up running into a consortium of issues. So one of the things that was spoken about on My Broadband is the fact that they went out and ranked top home solar companies in South Africa. And these companies are as follows. So the first one we have is Alumo Energy, right? So this was something that was actually recommended by one of My Broadband's own qualified electronic engineers. And they have extremely good ratings online, and they're a very good option. Then you have HOHM Energy, or Home, with a weird spelling, Home Energy as number 2, AW Power as number 3, and Goslar, GOSLR, as number 4, available in Cape Town, Gauteng, Durban, Gardenroute, Quebec, Bloemfontein, and Nelspruit. So that's someone that people here in the Gardenroute can actually work with. That's Goslar, GOSLR. And I think it's very important to go with these kind of companies. Another one is Met Solar, METSOLAR, Met Solar. And then there's One Energy Group, which is another one as well. And Rubicon. So if you're not really doing deals with some of these companies, you should really check what you're getting. And that's the big problem, is this information gap. One of the things that we're going to be talking about today is Porsche, who's released a new car, and this car runs on what's called e-fuel. And e-fuel is basically a replacement to your traditional fuel, and it's supposed to be the solution that allows any vehicle with a combustion engine that's using petrol to also have the ability to switch to a fuel which is more beneficial for them. And then there's also another topic that we're going to talk about, which is an L1 caravan, which is a caravan that has solar panels on it that charges a huge battery that you can use to either facilitate a grid in your house, you can use it to travel around, driving it around charges it. And one of the things that they spoke about was that the power management systems that go into these kind of technologies are so sophisticated that your traditional user or end consumer cannot be held responsible or have the responsibility to micromanage these power systems, because they're very complicated. So people are building systems and technologies which make it much easier to automate the management of the power systems. But until those technologies exist, when you go out to buy a big setup for your house, you're none the wiser if it's a good setup, if it's an average setup, or it's a very poor setup. You have no idea if it's going to last 2 years or it's going to last 10 years. And you could be paying 100,000 Rand for that. And you don't know what you're spending it on. So one of the most important things, I think, for the continuous expansion of the solar industry is to clean up all the bad actors and the knowledge gap.
Yeah, somebody said to me, every second guy nowadays with a plumbing business and a bucky, suddenly they're doing solar. And then the big guys come and they see, because the people say, hey, these connections aren't working, these panels aren't doing what they should do, and then they check it and then it wasn't properly installed. Not here in our area, but I know somewhere else in South Africa, I'm not sure where exactly, somebody's panels actually caught fire on the roof because it wasn't installed correctly.
Oh, wow.
So you have a lot of fly-by-nights taking your money and bringing those panels, but they're not harnessing that energy 100% the way they should, or just malfunctioning or whatever.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know what they're doing, but we're in the solar business because we've got a bucky and we do plumbing, so I'm sure we can
set something up for you.
Yeah,
Connect
exactly.
some wires.
Because listen, let's be honest, the solar businesses are coining it right now.
Yeah.
They're coining it. It's huge. The prices people are paying now, they're making big bucks.
I mean, lithium-ion batteries are even scarce in South Africa at the moment.
Yes.
And I think before, the load shedding crisis became so severe in South Africa, the only time you would really go off the grid is when you've built a house or living in an area that is actually too far away from the grid to get power.
Yeah.
Like a farm. Or somewhere remote, like you're camping somewhere, right? And then you need some sort of power generation facilities. And something that is often associated with that remote living is satellite internet. And we've heard about it a little bit with SpaceX's satellite internet service, but not a lot of people actually know that satellite internet is actually available in South Africa. Like, there are actually ways that you can go about installing satellite internet, which is feasible in various ways. For example, you might be able to go camping somewhere, live in a remote area off grid with satellite internet. These are kind of the use cases for this technology. Maybe you're outside of an ADSL or fiber zone. Maybe you're outside of those zones and you're outside of an LTE zone. So you're paying mobile data prices, and that's very expensive.
Yeah.
So that's where satellite internet comes in. But I couldn't believe how expensive it is.
I was going to say now, it's probably costing an arm and a leg.
It is, but it's not too bad. Here are some satellite internet packages in South Africa that you can look at that are uncapped. For example, DSL Telecom Connect for a 5 megabyte download, 2 megabyte upload. We're talking very slow.
That's not fast.
It's about 700 Rand a month for 24 months. Then if we're looking at some other speeds, More Click Unlimited offers 10 megabytes download, 3 megabytes upload for 1,000 Rand a month, which is a little bit better. It's not bad. 1,000 Rand a month's well priced. But what really is the big factor for me is when you actually try and get satellite internet for something like a yacht. Like, let's say you're going to go on a boat into international waters to go somewhere and you need internet. You would think that if the starting rate for internet at like 5 megabytes per second download is 700 Rand, and the highest price for internet at like 50 megabytes download, 5 megabytes upload is 2,600 Rand, you would think it's going to be around that price. I had a friend of mine that just recently went out boating from docked straight out of Cape Town, and went all the way up to California and things like that.
Wow.
And they got quoted from SpaceX how much it would cost. $2,000.
Whoa.
Which is like 35,000 Rand a month.
No, man.
For internet.
Highball. Is it worth it?
But the thing that I struggle to understand is you're connecting to a satellite from ground. Satellites are still in the air at sea, maybe not as many, but I couldn't imagine.
Why would it be so specialized
30
at
times
sea?
the price.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
What's the difference between being in the ocean and being on land? Do you think the waves make it difficult for the signal or something, maybe?
I don't know. I think for someone like SpaceX charging so much, Starlink charging so much, is because of the competitors. I think before Starlink established its really powerful network of satellites, the competitors only had one or two in the air. So Starlink entered the market basically at the price of their competitors. So I think that's where they make a lot of money, is actually more so from water territories of ships moving through those territories than actual funds from the land.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
because there's a lot of vessels that would probably require some sort of internet service.
If you have a private yacht, I'm sure you can expand it.
All the private yachts,
you can afford it.
All the private yachts, but even container shipping and all that kind of stuff, it needs to be connected to the network. I mean, you almost, if you disconnect yourself from the internet, and that's what I thought was really cool about like our solar power technology and stuff like that. If you think about it, I was sitting in my room and it was during load shedding. And I said, wow, with one generator, I can power my computer and connect to the rest of the world. When you just think about it like that, it's actually like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's very, very cool.
It is. One generator.
One extension cable connect to the world.
One man. One generator. It sounds like a movie trailer.
Intro cinematic. I agree. But that's very interesting, right?
Yes, very much so. And what are we coming back with after the music break?
Well, we've got to tackle the elephant in the room, which is AI. There's just so much happening with AI. I spoke
to somebody today about AI. Did you know people are actually falling in love with AI right now?
I don't even want to.
Yeah, there's this dude. The AI said all the right things, and he actually fell in love with it.
Said all the right things.
Yeah, and the AI was like, "I'm not a real person," and it's like, "No, I want to marry you. Where are you?" Like, so what? How would you marry the AI? How would you get it in physical form? Would you just take your computer box to the nearest church, or how do you get married to AI?
I think
because that's what he wants to do that now. So
first of all, I have no idea how you would marry AI, but I honestly don't think it's such an unrealistic thing to imagine in the next 5 years.
people falling in love with machines.
Actually marrying.
I know that people love their cars, and there was even this guy who fell in love with this robot, and then there was that guy who fell in love with this blow-up doll, and they also had a marriage ceremony. But falling in love with AI,
I mean,
something that doesn't
some
exist.
people fall in love with like inanimate objects. At least this thing can have a conversation with you. It's like, let's look at the upsides. Yeah.
But is it moody? That's my question.
I don't know.
And can you switch it off when it starts yapping and moaning?
I guess so, but I don't think it's a good relationship if you could just switch off the other part of the conversation. But when we come back from the break, we're going to take a look at a stream, an always-on TV show that's made completely with AI. You can tune in anytime and actually watch it. It's the most disturbing thing ever to watch.
Oh my
to be honest with you, it's a hell of a strange, but it exists.
Can't wait to hear about it.
And then we're going to talk about how Slack, the communication channels, using ChatGPT, which is very interesting. And then we're going to come back with an Apple update on one of their new phones in a color that I couldn't believe they made this color for your iPhone. So when we get back, we'll chat about it.
Awesome. Now we're going to throw it back to, I think, was it the early 2000s or around 2010? There was this awesome song by MIA called Paper Planes. Let's listen to that.
If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make them all day. I get one down in a second if you wait. I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make them all day. I get one down in a second if you wait. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. All I wanna do is take your money. 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 Pirates, skulls and bones, sticks and stones and weed and bombs. Running when we hit 'em. Lethal poison for the system. Pirates, skulls and bones, sticks and stones and weed and bombs. Running when we hit 'em. Lethal poison for the system. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Hit me on my banner, prepaid wireless. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. Already going hell, just pumping that gas. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Hit me on my banner, prepaid wireless. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. Already going hell, just pumping that gas. All I wanna do is take your money. 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 MIA, third world democracy. Yeah, I got more records than the KGB. So, no funny business. You already are.
Wow, when last? MIA Paper Planes. Kaine, what did you just say about the production of this song?
Oh, because of all those guns and stuff here in it. I was like, what happens when you make when you make a song while robbing a bank?
That's what it sounds like.
You just hear like cash registers and like gunshots and reloading, and
Yeah.
it's quite cool effects, I must say.
They had a lot of fun producing it, I'm sure. Hopefully they didn't actually fire the guns in studio.
No, I hope they did. At least you had real fun doing it. You know, just not computer
I think
generated
somebody was
guns.
just playing with the effects bank.
Playing on Call of Duty, recording it. You know. So what we're taking a look at next, this is crazy because it shows how fast AI is moving. Now, first you've got to take a step back. You've got to understand what AI is capable of in terms of image generation. When you're generating an image, you're usually putting in a sentence with some keywords and out comes a great image. And it's usually not exactly what you asked for. And it's not as specific as you can really engineer. Let's say you were taking a 2-second video clip. A 2-second video clip is compiled of frames. And the amount of frames is determined by that video clip's property called frames per second. Means how many static images or just normal images are in 1 second. So most movies and TV shows and things that you'll watch at a cinema are done at 24 frames per second, which means the video you're watching isn't actually a seamless video. It's 24 images every second that you're seeing.
Yeah.
That makes up for it. That's why when some people talk about movies that are shot at 60 frames per second, you have 60 images in it and the whole video becomes smoother. So when you're creating media for AI, what you're actually doing is you're generating 24 images for 1 second. And because AI is very difficult to hone into exact image contents, if you put 24 AI generated images into a second and you watch it back, it's going to be all over the place. It's really not going to be a video at all. But what a Seinfeld spoof has done, which is a live stream on Twitch, which means it's playing 24/7, is they've used AI to create a script, they've used AI to create images, and they've used AI to turn all the images into a video. And as a byproduct of that, you have a 24/7 TV show playing on Twitch that's not repeating, it's growing every single minute, and you have this perpetual 24/7 TV show that you can tune into at any time.
What's happening on the show? Who's on it?
It looks like a show made in Paint. Honestly, it looks like a show made in Paint. It's very pixelated. There's like this weird audio. Sometimes it follows the script, sometimes it doesn't. You got to go watch it. It's called Nothing Forever, the AI generated Seinfeld spoof. And it's like a sitcom. So the AI is also, you know, when you're watching a sitcom like Big Bang Theory and a joke lands, and you got that audience laughing, there's even that. And it's all AI generated. And it just shows you that in the future, honestly, in the future, with some progress in terms of quality, we could honestly see 24/7 TV shows. Imagine DSTV, but every channel was an ongoing show that never ended and you could always tune into. It's very possible. This is just a proof of concept. It shows you where it's going. I think it's very crazy. But it's not like it just launched for the first time. It was actually streaming before. And obviously, because it being AI, it can go in crazy directions. Just like Bing's AI, the new AI for Bing search, limits you to how much conversation you can have with the AI, up to 10 back and forth conversations before it limits you. Because if it goes on for too long, it can go a little bit crazy.
And then you fall in love with it.
You fall in love with it, it falls in love with you, it gets angry at you, starts swearing at you, telling you you're a liar. These are real things that AI has gone on to say over the last few weeks. But nonetheless, because of some kind of transphobic content, the Seinfeld AI generated TV show was terminated. And now they've gone and added in some new, call it guardrails, against it going off the beaten path like that, and now it's back again. So you can go watch it right now, it's live. But I thought, wow, what a proof of what the future looks like.
The other night I was playing with this AI thing as well on the internet. It gives you a free sample, and then you can type in any script, and it will sing it for you. You can pick a voice, you can pick from a preset amount of melodies, and it sings whatever you typed in there. It can be swear words, anything.
Wow.
And it actually, the pitch and everything is quite impressive. It doesn't sound like a robot.
Wow.
singing it, but that you just get like a free demo and then you can buy it. But I didn't even write down the name because I must say something about it was a bit freaky to me.
It is. It's very strange watching that type of content.
Just how quickly it was generated as well. I didn't wait for 1 minute.
It's hell of a strange.
And somebody also said this week, if they can get, now with AI, if they get just a small sample of your voice, like they're doing with the artists, they clone it and they can make you say stuff that you didn't say.
Well, remember last year we covered a topic that spoke about Alexa.
Yeah.
That they actually built
The
a
voice.
feature that they didn't release that would allow you to make Alexa's voice that of a passed away relative.
Yeah, this is similar. They just need a small sample of it.
A 30-second voice note, basically.
Yeah.
Is all
Not
they
even
need.
probably. Apparently scammers can just call you and you say hello. They've got a sample of your voice. They call your gran, ask for money, and your gran pays the money.
That's
to them.
unreal. That's unreal. Talking about AI, you know what Slack is? Have you heard of Slack before?
No, only Stack.
No, Slack is
Stack
a communication.
Overflow.
No, not Stack Overflow.
Where am I?
So Slack is like a business communication channel, similar to
Okay.
like Discord or Microsoft
Oh, okay.
Teams or like a Reddit and WhatsApp mixed together, maybe in a little
That's
bit of a
nice.
way.
Okay, thanks for educating
It's like a
me,
business
yeah.
channel
Okay.
where you can create separate categories of conversation for your business. So if your business was a sandwich shack, you would be able to have a conversation about just ingredients and a conversation about takeaways and a conversation about the campaigns that you're going to be running this month, and you can break up the conversations. But Slack's new ChatGPT bot will actually talk to your colleagues for you. So someone might send you a message and the AI version of you will reply. And it's all pre-configurable. So like Microsoft and Google, Slack's owner Salesforce is showing an AI chatbot into its workplace software to automatically write simple messages and summarize meetings. So those with access to the app can click the 3 dots icon in a thread and hit draft reply. Instead of typing out the response themselves, the AI will actually fill out some of that response, and there's going to be other automation and things like that coming into it. But this is how you're going to see AI interacting with your life. It's going to be like smart responses to messages before you've even started typing them. So you get a message from a colleague saying, are you available tomorrow at whatever time to have a meeting? And you're going to start the reply, and already a pre-written draft is going to be there, which might look at your other conversations that said you have a meeting at that time or speaking about a meeting at that time, and it's going to smart pre-draft a message for you that you can edit a little bit before sending.
How would you feel about it? Would you use it?
I think, AI is going to become instead of artificial intelligence, it's going to be like a secretary of artificial intelligence. It's going to do secretary-like things for you. It's going to be a PA. It's going to be able to see things that you might have forgotten about in previous conversations and remind you about them in a message that you're currently writing for a conversation. It's going to be helpful. It's probably going to increase productivity. I still don't like the idea of these automated voice things. Like, for example, I could go and train an AI for my voice. Then I could go and get an AI to write a script. And then I can go and have the AI trained voice read out my script. And then I can upload it to YouTube. And now I have made a video on YouTube where I'm talking, but I never spoke. I never wrote a piece of my script before. And that's just a whole very strange landscape. You can go watch a TV show that has no humans interacting with it. It's all made by a computer based on things you might like. It's a very weird place to go into the future. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I do know it's powerful, and I do know as a productivity tool, it is really, really powerful.
This week, I don't know if you saw the video I sent you from TikTok also, where this McDonald's robot is malfunctioning and it's supposed to bring the drinks to the table, also obviously taking over a human's job. And then this robot just malfunctions and just throws the drinks up in the air in the middle of the restaurant, all over the floor. Something went wrong. But I mean, these robots, the AI, it's not perfect, but it's just funny to see this robot for no reason whatsoever, just throwing
it around.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. And then on another piece of news, Apple, they're releasing a yellow iPhone. Have you ever seen a yellow iPhone before?
No, but it doesn't sound pretty, eh?
No, and it looks kind of like a mustard yellow. like a
dear.
very
No, it doesn't sound very
mustardy
classy.
yellow. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's coming out. They just announced it. The yellow iPhone 14 series for the iPhone 14 Plus and all the additional bells and whistles. That's going to be there.
Wow, that's fantastic. This is TechPlus. If you just joined us, hello and welcome. It's Eon Kaine with you. We have about 30 minutes or so left of today's show, and then we come back. Then we wrap it up and conclude this week's summary of the biggest tech news stories. Kaine, what have you got for us when we come back?
When we come back from the break, we're going to be taking a look at Elon Musk and what he thinks about Twitter possibly becoming cash flow positive next quarter, which is impressive because they've gone into huge debt. We're going to be talking about Spotify going big on video podcasts, which is something that I think might be exciting for our radio show. And then we're also going to be taking a look at Tesla, who is under investigation after Model Y steering wheels have been falling off. I can't even tell you.
You saw that video I sent you of the two old guys in the self-driving car and how they were freaking out.
Yeah.
This one old man, he's almost like a kid. Like, he's excited, but he's nervous as well. And they can't understand. Like, the one guy, even, he's got his hands on the seat just to see, is there really nobody sitting here driving this car? And then he goes into an intersection and everything.
Yeah.
It's scary,
that was that
actually,
video
man.
you sent me of a daughter of obviously an older guy and his friend who brings them into a Tesla and shows them the self-driving
Yeah, but
car
they're
for the
totally
first time.
overwhelmed, and he says, he's not feeling safe, and he puts on his safety belt.
No, I found it quite funny because they get into this, what they think is an Uber, and they're like talking to the driver, and then they realize there's no driver.
Ooh.
You know?
Can you imagine what that must be like for somebody born in the 1940s or even the 1950s?
It must be crazy to watch.
Just watching the evolution of cars, and here's a car that's driving itself. There's no physical driver in it.
I think if you put an average South African into a self-driving car, they're going to be pretty nervous.
And you?
I would be 100% nervous.
Would you sit in the back seat?
It's cool because it's self-driving, but it's also your life on the line. So,
Computers make mistakes.
They can make decisions faster than you. They can
but they also make mistakes, and they can also crash, and then they literally crash.
Yeah, they can completely not see an obstacle in the road and fully confidently drive into it.
Because I saw that car had like cameras and sensors all around it, but it doesn't mean anything.
But we do know that the best minds are working on the self-driving technology.
Well, they better improve it soon, because it's the way it's going right now, it's not sounding really good. Like you always say, the rules, they're written in blood eventually. People have to die unfortunately, for them to make these things better. But the way it's going at the moment, with all the crashes and the cars just combusting and burning for years and all that.
In South Africa, for example, I wonder how a Tesla would react to an intersection with robots, but there are none because it's load shedding.
Or what if it's hijacked? What would it actually do? Would it just...
I don't know.
Would it just give itself over, or...
No, I don't know. Maybe it will refuse to drive. I don't know.
Or like have spikes coming out on the side and then just puncture
a pair of handcuffs come on across the steering wheel and just lock him in. I don't know.
That's they've got to make some modifications for a release in South Africa, because let's be honest, things are a little bit different here. Let's go back to some music. Here's Jordan Sugar and Summer High.
Last night I forgot to tell you how I feel, 'cause I'm shy, didn't want anybody to hear, so I lied and I walked home alone thinking about you. Oh baby, no, don't go, 'cause inside you got me like landslide. When I'm looking in your eyes, give me something that I like. You got me waiting, you're my summer high. Hold tight, I really want you tonight. The stars are burning so bright. You got me waiting, you're my summer high. Summer, 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 summer high. Summer, 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 you're my summer high. Summer, 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 summer high. that's what I like. Landslide when I'm looking in your eyes. Give me something that I like. You got me waiting, you're my summer high. Hold tight, I really want you tonight. The stars are burning so bright. You got me waiting, you're my summer high. Summer, 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 summer high. Summer, 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 you're my summer high. Summer, 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 summer high. Summer, 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 you're my summer high. Summer, 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 summer high.
Jordan Sugar and Summer High. Welcome back to TechPlus. Kaine, you got something to tell me.
So we're talking about self-driving cars, but I don't think you're quite prepared for what we're about to talk about next. So Ford, everybody knows Ford. Ford's just applied for a patent with the United States Patent Office, which has some pretty gnarly technology in terms of self-driving, automation, all through the internet connected things. So when you go and get a car, right, on some sort of repayment system where you pay every single month to own the car, for Ford's technology, what this patent will allow them to do and what this technology will allow them to do is change your experience while driving the car if you start missing your payments. So listen to this, right? So let's say you missed your payment, you're a week late to your payment. You're just going to get like a very inconspicuous SMS that will just say, please, when you get a chance, just make your payment, right?
Uh-huh.
If you start running late on that payment, right, it will start doing some things to your car.
Now what?
So the first thing it'll do, it'll start deactivating air conditioning, right?
Fair enough.
So no more
because
air
that's
conditioning
a luxury,
or radio.
Yeah. That's a luxury.
Yeah, luxury. So it'll turn off air conditioning and radio. Then, let's say you don't make your payment still. So, okay, cool. We'll start playing a very annoying beep. Every time you drive the car, it's going to be beeping. It's going to be some sort of sound irritating thing that happens. So you can't use your aircon, you can't use your radio, and now you've got a beep happening in your car. But if that's not enough to make you pay,
it's getting worse.
If that's not enough to make you pay, it's going to lock you out of your car on weekends. So you can drive your car to work and back during the week.
So you can make money to pay. But weekends, no jolling.
No relaxation for you on the weekend. You're staying at home. You can't turn your car on. You can't get into your car.
Are you serious?
But the final straw, if that doesn't make you pay your payment, your car will drive itself back to the car lot or to the scrapyard to be repossessed. It'll drive itself. So you miss your payment, you look out your window at 6 a.m, you see your car reversing out your driveway. Last time you're gonna see it, it's heading to the trash heap. It's gonna go scrap itself. That's unbelievable. I was like, what?
I can't believe this. It sounds like a joke. My eyes are actually tearing. That's hilarious because I'm very visual, so I actually see this happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
See it taking away the aircon, and then eventually it takes itself back to the dealership. This is brilliant, actually. Hey, but so that saves a lot of people doing repos because repos get really violent. If we've seen on reality TV,
what happens when your car repossesses itself while you're still in the car?
There you go. But I actually thought that it would just disable the steering wheel, or maybe the wheels would come off eventually.
But no. So
thank you. That was
SMS,
brilliant.
Turns your radio off, turns your aircon off, then plays an annoying beep, blocks you out of the car on the weekends, and then eventually just drives itself, probably to the property of someone else who will now be paying the car for a special rate.
But I think you had fair warning, eventually.
And then maybe when AI comes in, you can actually have a conversation with your car and plead with it. Yeah, please do not bear with me. We're gonna make payments together. We got some Ubering to do, and we will pay this thing off.
Imagine a couple having a conversation. Honey, where's the car? No, we didn't pay, so it drove itself back to the dealership this afternoon.
And if you pay, it'll drive back.
Yeah, this is brilliant. Wow.
So that's
Thank you.
patented technology. That's done deal now.
That's brilliant.
So you should see that in Fords. And then next up is I think quite an interesting achievement. So Relativity Space, which is an organization, has been preparing for its first launch of a 3D printed rocket for a few years now. And yesterday, it was just minutes away, according to Relativity, at 110 feet tall and 7.5 feet wide. Terran 1 is the largest 3D printed object to attempt orbital flight. So we're basically talking about 3D printing a 110-foot rocket. I mean, it's huge. And when it was after an automated abort with 70 seconds left on the countdown in its first attempt, the team at first said it would recycle and attempt the launch again, but now says the mission has been scrubbed for the day and should continue sometime over the next few days. So you might see news about the first ever 3D printed rocket achieving orbital flight, which I think is very exciting. They also went out to say today's launch attempt for #GLHF Terran 1 was scrubbed due to exceeding launch commit criteria limits for propellant terminal conditions on stage 2. The team is working diligently towards our next launch window in the coming days. Check back here soon for updates on the launch window for our next attempt. So, not a success, but at least it wasn't as bad as UK's attempt to get a rocket into space, which just ended up crashing into the ocean. So they didn't get to that flight pod. But I was also thinking about it, a 3D printed rocket. I've watched small 3D printed objects being made before. It is a timeless
Takes
process.
very long, yeah.
Takes long. It takes like flipping 5 to 12 hours to 3D print your object. So to 3D print a 110-foot rocket, you do not simply launch it into space and hope for the best.
How long would that take? It would take months, eh?
They've been preparing for years for this moment.
Yeah.
So obviously when they saw things weren't going right in the preliminary checks, they're like, no. Like, we'll try it again. And then they looked at it and they're like, no, we will reschedule it. So we didn't see
It's
it
unreal.
go in.
It's unreal.
We were almost at a breaking news topic. Then let's take a look at Elon Musk, right? So he thinks Twitter has a shot at being cash flow positive next quarter. He gave a high-level update on the state of the company's financial health during an interview at a conference hosted by Morgan Stanley. Twitter is currently expecting to make $3 billion in revenue this year and is spending $1.5 billion annually in addition to the $1.5 billion in debt payments it owes. According to Musk, for comparison, Twitter was on track to report about $5 billion in revenue for 2022 before Musk bought it. Its costs were $2.8 billion during the first half of the year, which implies that he has slashed spend by more than 70%. Musk claimed Twitter now has 250 million daily users and 500 million monthly users, though it's unclear how those metrics are calculated. Well, that's quite good, right? He's cut costs down, he's projecting quite high revenue, but I think at the end of the day, although the costs are down, Twitter doesn't have like a main area where you can send questions to and communicate to. They have no communications department anymore. They're missing vital pieces of the company that used to be there, that make it very hard to channel queries through, ask questions, communicate with the company, for the company to communicate with the creators. It's all a little bit discombobulated. So although costs are low, you're running with like a piece of Swiss cheese and missing vital pieces of the puzzle. But that's how Musk does, break it down to nothing, build it up from scratch. That's how you make a company in your own image that you feel confident in throwing more cash at, which is what's going to have to happen. And then some talk about VCs and AI. So we've heard about the AI breakthroughs and things like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean the whole world is just tunneling money into AI. We've seen Microsoft dump $1 billion last year and another $10 billion this year into AI, but some VCs are skeptical of the AI hype after getting burnt on crypto, because that's how crypto got so popular. It was very hypish, very FOMO, fear of missing out, and people got in ill-prepared and end up getting burnt. And the reason that they were given to go in was the fear of missing out. Don't miss out, this is the next big thing. We can't tell you why, but it's going to be the next big thing. So they're really asking, but how will it make money? How will AI make money? They ask about an objectively useful technology 2 years after pouring cash into crypto, a technology that appeared to create money but nothing useful. One investor said that because of the huge amount of capital and computing resources required, recent leaps in generative AI were comparable to landing on the moon, a massively impressive technical achievement only replicable by those with nation-state level wealth. Companies are extremely overvalued, and the only justifiable investment thesis is to get in incredibly early, said another veteran investor. Otherwise, you're only buying in because of FOMO. So there's some skepticism, which is true. How does it really make money? Because it can do things, but it can't quite do things at a human replacement level just yet. But I think we can both agree there's going to be a lot of advances in AI, whether directly or indirectly. We've already done the protein synthesis where we've synthesized every single protein known to man through AI. I think those kind of developments, what could be the potential benefits of certain types of chemical treatments for certain types of diseases, and being able to run that through AI generated simulations and things like that, is going to be where I think we see the most progress. But another thing regarding Spotify. So Spotify is not only taking a big leap on their podcasting, which they're now kind of moving into video podcasting areas, but they've also changed their entire user interface. Their whole user experience is now changing. Spotify basically wants to be more than a music player, and we all know it as a music player.
Yeah,
it's like you have
so
Apple
they're adding
Music.
video as well.
They're adding video, but it's also turning into a much more than just a bunch of album covers, because that's how you used to navigate.
Yeah.
So Spotify is redesigning the core home screen of its app, trying to make it easier for users to find new stuff to listen to and watch. The new design goes heavy on imagery and vertical scrolling, turning your home screen from a set of album covers into a feed that much more closely resembles something like TikTok and Instagram. As you scroll, Spotify is also hoping to make it easier to discover new things across the Spotify ecosystem. The new look, which Spotify just announced at its Stream On event, is clear evidence of the kind of company and product Spotify wants to be. Over the last few years, it has invested heavily into podcasts, audiobooks, live audio, and more, all in an attempt to be more than just a music app. The company also wants to be a home for creators. Spotify CEO Daniel Ek told The Verge in 2021 that he hoped to have more than 50 million audio creators on the platform. Spotify has also pushed for years to make video podcasts happen, and it's now basically taking off. So if you're an avid user of Spotify, I'd be interested to hear, what is your thoughts on this new TikTok, Instagram-like feed of discovery?
I don't know, right?
And vertical scrolling. And
is it really necessary?
Well, I think there is some cool things about it. Like, for example, you can scroll, on Spotify, at least the way I use it, you have different playlists and you go into those playlists and you listen at your...
That's all you need. You don't need more than album covers.
But I think in a feed-like environment, I really like one of the ideas, which is that you can go browsing through your feed and live podcasts will appear that you can immediately semi-jump into. You can just push the play button, get an idea for what's playing, and either go on to the next thing or go into it and actually go in a deep dive and watch it properly. And also discovering music like that and stuff, I think is an interesting idea. I don't really have a music discovery process other than just hearing something new on a playlist that I haven't heard before. So the idea of potentially browsing a TikTok-like feed for really good music and hopefully finding that music and finding music that's really interesting to me based on what I like is actually quite a good idea for me. I think it would really entertain and incentivize the whole let's find a new song to listen to, and how well can we find, and how often do we find a song that we like? Do we have to go through 100 songs to find one, or do we go through 10 and like 9? If it's the latter, I back it all the time. Like, who doesn't want to find a new banger of a song to put on their playlist? So it's all about what it does for the end user. But it's interesting to see the direction they're taking. We see everywhere, even Reddit is bringing in a feed similar to TikTok as well, where you have a video feed of information and a text feed of information.
So video is really a big thing at the moment.
Yeah. And I think social media is taking a big kick, or at least trying to make a big splash. All the social media platforms, especially at the start now of 2023, we see Reddit bringing in properties of TikTok and Instagram. We see Instagram bringing in properties of TikTok. We see Spotify trying to be Instagram and TikTok. You see all these different companies trying to take a piece out of the other. Facebook, also another announcement, is they're bringing the Messenger back into the Facebook app. I don't know if you remember when it used to be you do all your Facebook messages inside of Facebook. You don't have a separate app for it called Facebook Messenger. There used to be a time where you could go onto the website, Facebook website, and chat and do all your conversations amongst all of your other stuff. So they're bringing that back in. Why? Because things like TikTok have the messaging built into the platform.
It's so interesting how the one is copying the other. It's like they're trying to be like, the one's trying to be like the other one, but who are they actually following? Who's the lead example? Because it sounds like TikTok.
TikTok is.
It sounds like it.
And speaking of TikTok, shame. It looks like they're very likely to be banned in the USA.
Really? Because I saw one guy who is from the USA. He said he's uploading his last video now, and if people want to still follow him with TikTok being banned soon, then he gave them the Instagram handle, the name.
It is very likely. So the Congress just rolled out the new bill allowing nationwide TikTok ban. So the Restrict, all caps, Act would empower the Secretary of Commerce to ban apps that pose a risk to US national security. TikTok isn't directly mentioned, but this is basically a protocol for them to remove applications from the App Store of American citizens in the event that they feel national security is at risk.
They feel that TikTok is spying.
They do.
On what exactly?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed it, but I don't even know if it's a function, but TikTok has some weird stuff. Like, I've been watching a TikTok live stream, and I close the app and it's still playing.
Yeah.
It doesn't close. And I don't know if it's like a
it
video
minimizes
listing, and it just plays in the background,
Yeah.
so you can hear it like an audio. I don't know, but there's definitely reason to believe that there could be some kind of spying. I mean, if there are 100 million Americans that have TikTok installed, that's quite a gauge of the day-to-day user activity. And also you can connect the dots somewhat to what apps are installed in these users' devices, and maybe they've turned location on and allowed TikTok access so they can see where people are moving. And I think for those reasons, I think less what is TikTok, more how many people use TikTok that they see as a national security. And one of the things that they said in this bill is they hope to potentially spot these things earlier, because once it manifests across your entire population, now you got to go and ban it. And there's going to be community uproar. There's people making money off of this thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Who do you think, in your opinion, is going to benefit the most if TikTok is banned in America? Who would be
companies? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Would that be the best alternative? Would be Instagram, hey?
I don't think best alternative, only alternative. Like, if you're making your money on TikTok, you better hope that you can recoup some of that time and effort.
So
you
TikTok,
put in
Instagram is the only alternative, basically.
Yeah.
Unless they start a new one, which will eventually get banned anyway.
But
unless it's from America.
A lot of these creators are on a lot of different platforms. So you're kind of closing one channel among many. But I still don't like the idea of banning apps, especially apps that share information and can share information so well that you could quote unquote see a UFO sighting.
And it's a threat to national security.
Yeah.
Then it must be huge.
Yeah. And TikTok also is the first app that I've seen, at least under the surface, that I can justifiably say is built to also hook creators. And I'll explain that for a minute. So TikTok is only as good as how many people are watching content. And people only want to watch content if new content is coming.
Yeah.
So TikTok's priority is actually to make people make more content. So they do things. And there's creators that talk about it where you might post 20 videos. And of those 20 videos, you get an average number of likes across all of them. And then for one video, it starts growing. Maybe you traditionally get 2,000 views a video, and now you're getting 20,000, 30,000 views on this particular video in 2 days. Day 3, no more views. Views completely stop. Why? Because on a psychological level, the creator has now created something that they feel has become viral.
Yeah.
And then that virality almost stops dead in its tracks, which creates an inverse emotion. And makes the creator want to create something again so that it can go more viral.
Yes, I didn't even know they're playing these mind games.
I didn't either. And when I heard about it, I was like, that actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's where someone like TikTok
It's not
is
really
actually
fair,
dangerous.
is it?
No, not on the creators.
No,
to subliminally
because that
trap
next
them.
video is destined to be a failure then.
Yeah.
The one after the viral one. But I've heard that TikTok's, like their staff, they have... I'm not sure how true it is, but I've read it a few times, that TikTok staff have like a button, I don't know if it's a virtual button or whatever, and then when they see something they like and really think is good, they push that button and it gives them a boost. It gives that creator a boost in the algorithm, and then that person usually goes viral.
No, I was listening to a creator, and he seems affirmative in his theory that TikTok has milestones for creators. So it might be your 15th video, your 25th video. It might be as you hit 10,000 followers or 50,000 or 100,000 followers. They'll actually boost all of your content to amplify that 10,000 follower, 100,000 follower, 25th video or 30th video, or whatever those thresholds are. It will boost your following. But then there's also another category of creators, people like celebrities and influencers that are really, really big, that TikTok kind of just has a green light on. every video
Or by
is pushed to
default
be
is
viral.
successful, yeah.
Every single video is bound to be shared with everyone, regardless of how many likes it gets.
Yeah.
And you kind of see the unfair landscape.
It is very
shaping out.
unfair. I said to somebody as well today, just when I thought I cracked the Facebook algorithm, it changed again. Every day it changes. You can never tell if something you post on Facebook nowadays as a page, whether it's going to be successful. I'm talking, it is so extreme right now that you sometimes get 1 to 2 likes on that post, even though you have thousands viewing it.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No, it's not.
So what motivation is left for that person to carry on posting if only 1 or 2 people like it or share it out of, say, 10,000?
Yeah.
What's the motivation to carry on?
Well, TikTok's going to motivate you by giving you a little piece of it. A little piece of that.
Yeah,
that
but
fame.
Facebook, what's the motivation?
I don't know.
On Facebook.
Facebook recently, just this week, made an announcement that they have like 200 million active daily users. But then there are also creators that complain that even when they post to Instagram, it's automatically posting to Facebook. And they didn't consent to it or activate it. They actually have to disable it natively. But by default, it's enabled. And that kind of you wonder how many people are getting content to Facebook because they're going to Facebook. Because I don't use Facebook that much, and I didn't know 200 million active daily users are using. That's a lot.
It's saturated.
It's a lot.
But I'm just wondering, it's not really fair posting something as a business page or whatever, showing it to people who actually like your page or follow your page and they want to see your posts and information, and now you show it to like 1% of them.
Yeah.
You know, that's not fair. What they want is money to boost it. And even then you can't reach all your followers.
No, and you reach
so it's
the wrong
frustrating.
audiences.
There's no way to crack this Facebook algorithm. All they want, and that's all over the world right now, is greed. All they want is money.
They want to push their ad networks, just like TikTok's priority is to get more creators to create more content, because if there's more content, there's more for people to watch, and if there's more for people to watch, they watch longer, and as long as they're watching longer and driven to watch longer, you throw ads in the middle of that, and you make money from an ad network. Speaking of money, e-fuel. Quickly before we end today, we can talk about e-fuel for a second. So e-fuel is an alternative fuel for your vehicle that you would put in your vehicle as a alternative to something like petrol. And Porsche showed off a new pilot plant in Patagonia, Chile, last month that allows them to make e-fuel, a synthetic alternative to conventional gasoline made from air and water using electricity. So with air and water and electricity, they create e-fuel. And the plant is a joint project with ExxonMobil and other energy companies, and is a symbol of hope in the fight against climate change for a more sustainable future. This is what Porsche released in a press release on the 14th of February. And what's quite interesting about this is it works out to be about 5 times more expensive than traditional fuel. And as well as that, it consumes more electricity than an EV consumes to travel the same distance.
So why would we use it?
Well, that's where it gets interesting, because with an e-fuel, if you have a combustion engine vehicle and you want to be more climate efficient, you have to buy a new electric vehicle. But if you have a normal combustion vehicle and you switch the fuel, you can become more carbon efficient. Even though it's 5 times more expensive, I really hope those prices go down. But it's basically a modular solution for people to become a little bit more sustainable by just changing the fuel that they use and changing it from petrol to e-fuel. And that was one of the arguments from Germany when they were at the EU trying to ban combustion vehicles, right? They wanted to do that, and they argued that e-fuel could be the alternative to that. And on that note, we might see e-fuel better used in aviation. That's where it's actually going to be used, because you can't have an electrically powered plane. Batteries are too heavy. So that's where we'll see e-fuel. And on that note, it's time to end.
Yeah, Kaine, thank you so much. Very interesting note to end off with. That's it for TechPlus for this week. Catch us again next week, same time, same place. Thanks, Kaine. Have a good weekend.
You too. And thank you to all of our listeners for listening, and see you next week.